Thank you everyone for joining us today. Like I said a couple seconds ago, feel free to keep on typing where you're joining us from. We're going to be reading those throughout. Today's webinar is all about the journey to wellness, bloom, grow, thrive. And during our time together, we're going to be focusing on practical strategies for growth, self-care, and building healthy habits that support your overall wellness. One thing to remember is that wellness isn't a destination, it's an ongoing process. And we want to help you embrace each stage of that journey and help you feel empowered to thrive in all areas of your life. So let's dive in and explore together how we can bloom, grow, and thrive in our journey to better health. So a few housekeeping rules. We are going to be having a Q&A session at the end of the webinar. Feel free to use the chat function or the Q&A function to ask any questions you might have during the webinar. We're going to have some time towards the end of the session to answer as many questions as we possibly can. And this webinar is being recorded and it will be shared in a follow-up email. Next slide. Thank you. Healthier Texas is a non-discriminatory organization. This material was funded by the USDA Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. Next slide. Thank you. So my name is Eliana Bonilla. I am the Community Challenge Program Coordinator here at Healthier Texas. And joining with me is Natalie.
Hey, I'm Natalie Richardson. I am the lead health coach at Healthier Texas, and I'm going to do a deep dive in a little bit after Liliana gives a little bit of a presentation. I'm going to give a deep dive into what our
Perfect. Our objectives today are to help you understand the stages of change, recognize which stage you are currently in, and overcome barriers to build sustainable, healthy habits. With these foundations, we believe that you'll be better equipped to create lasting wellness improvements. Next slide. Okay, so let's talk about behavior change. Behavior change is something that we all know is tough, whether it's finding time, staying motivated, or even just knowing where to start. These common challenges can make building new habits feel very overwhelming. Many people struggle with consistency, but with the right support, these hurdles can absolutely be overcome. It's important to remember that change is difficult because our brains naturally gravitate towards routine and familiarity, making new healthy habits feel uncomfortable at first. But with time and a little bit of support, these changes can become second nature. Next slide, please. All right, let's get interactive. So take a minute to answer our poll question, which should have popped into your screen. So the poll question is, what's one challenge you face with healthy habits? Let me say that again. What's one challenge you face with healthy habits? We have time, motivation, knowledge, or consistency. Share what's on your mind. Okay, we'll take a couple of seconds to answer that. Okay, so if you see the results, you see that consistency is the top challenge, followed closely by time. So consistency is the greatest challenge that we all seem to have. So we truly hope that after this presentation, you learn about ways to overcome these obstacles. I'll now pass it on to Natalie, who's going to be discussing in detail the stages of change. Take it away, Natalie.
Thanks, Liliana. All right, before I do the deep dive here, let me explain what this is all about. You see, in public health in the 70s, there was a lot of research on how to help people stop smoking. And so there was so much research on how to help people change smoking habits and then other healthy habits or other non-healthy habits. So back then, they came up with a bunch of theories and then a timeline for behavior change. And what they figured out, and this, mind you, they were doing so they could figure out how far they can push somebody when they are trying to stop smoking. So that was back in the 70s. So the stages they found were pre-contemplation, when you're not feeling ready, contemplation, when you're thinking about it, preparing for change or preparation, action, and maintenance. And of course, there's always the relapse, which could help happen at any point of these stages, in between any of these stages. So fast forward to now, this theory of stages of change coming from the trans-theoretical model, that's a public health theory. Um, Fast forward to now, providers use this to help people change all sorts of habits. It could be around weight loss, it could be around diabetes, substance abuse, of course, smoking cessation, and others. But today, I want to share it because not only providers need to use this, I think that ourselves can really benefit from knowing where we are at in our stage of change. So that way we're not pushing ourselves too hard and we're being compassionate with ourselves enough. As a health coach, what I see a lot with my clients is that they put so much on their plate at the very beginning, and then obviously everything falls down because it's so heavy. And then they feel so guilty about it. And they feel so guilty that they don't even want to talk about it anymore. And then they run away. I don't hear from them for a while. So this is why I want everybody to know what it's like to go through these stages of change when you're trying to change a habit. Next slide, please. We're going to go into each stage now. So the very first stage, this is usually a stage that we don't even know that we're in because we don't even think there's a problem. There is, in your mind, no need to make any change, but you might start noticing that people are pointing things out to you, like, should you stop that drinking, that fifth drink there, or are you going to smoke right now? Whatever the outside signs are, you'll start hearing them. And if you start hearing recommendations from other people, advice to quit this or that, think about this stage. It's like, oh, pre-contemplation. I might be denying a problem that I have. Um, so if you are in the stage, it is recommended that you have an open ear, an open mind about the information that's coming from your friends and family that are kind of pointing things out. But also pay attention how you feel. Um, it's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to feel uneasy, and it's going to rattle some stuff up. So breathe through those feelings. Know it's okay, and get ready for the next stage. Here we go for the next stage. Okay, contemplation. Let's say that you've heard a lot from your loving friends and family. You've got a problem. You acknowledge it. Yes, I'm not in denial anymore, but I'm not ready to do anything about it yet. I'm just now in the stage of acknowledging that I have a problem. That's what contemplation feels like. You might start doing the pros and cons of changing something, um, and it really doesn't feel like the right time to start anything yet, but you're kind of weighing your options here. If you find yourself in this stage, it is really good to arm yourself with knowledge. Do a lot of research. Those can really make those pros go up higher. Um, and find also people who have had the experience of going through the change that you're trying to achieve. How do they do it? How was their experience? And get familiar with that. All right, next stage. is preparation. This is when you're starting to get your ducks in a row. Um, and this is usually when a lot of people come to our hotline, our health coaching line, because they are getting their ducks in a row, or they don't have any of their ducks in a row, but the first step is to get a health coach, because then you can start figuring out together what ducks you need to be in a row. Um, if you're in this stage, you're gathering information, gathering resources, you're finding your support. You might be telling your friends and your family about your plans of making a change. You might be starting to think about a date to set for yourself to make this change. Um, so, tips for this stage would be to create an action plan, you know, break up those steps as small as possible so that they really sound feasible and realistic and something that is not going to be discouraging to do. It's not too overwhelming. And kind of piece it out 1 week at a time. That's what I do with my clients. We prepare 1 week at a time. It just makes it a whole lot easier. Okay, next slide, please. Taking action. This is the exciting part. You're actually starting to do it. You're trying it and you're doing it. You're succeeding at it. Um, it's going to be hard at the beginning. Getting the ball rolling and anything is really hard, but by the third week, it gets a little bit easier. Now, I'm going to give a little disclaimer here. Ding, ding, ding. By the third week, usually there is relapse. It happens. Life throws its oddballs and you get off rail, and that's totally fine. We'll talk about that soon. But right now, you will notice that you are in the action stage if you see that you are succeeding at the goals that you're putting for yourself. And say if you've experienced relapse and you get back on track, that's also part of this. It's the dance forward and backwards. This is the action phase. Um, Tips for this stage include um, tracking your progress. That's a good one. If you track your progress during this stage, like keep a tally of what you're doing, it feels so rewarding. Um, we can be our worst critics, and if you are keeping track of your small wins, even if it's the teeniest win, it'll feel so much better. But if you have a health coach, you have a health coach that's going to kind of point those out to you as well and celebrate with you. So that's cool too. Um, Another tip is to really time manage and put these goals, these steps that you are doing into your schedule. Put them on your calendar, set up reminders, carve time out for these things to happen. Um, and then get ready for relapse. It happens. We're going to talk about this after the next change, though. It's maintenance. So the next stage is maintenance. This usually happens after you've had experience of falling off track and getting back on track and falling off track and getting back on track again. Um, I usually tell clients if you are able to pull yourself right back on track after you have had a relapse, then you're in maintenance. You've got this now. And we can start thinking about weaning off of coaching because you got this. You can do it on your own now. You can pull yourself back on track. Um, so usually what it feels like is like you've got this and you can see that old habits are not a craving anymore. You can see if what triggers you and you know what to do. So you have kind of like a strategy plan if you have those old cravings, old habits creeping up. Um, you'll feel confident and you'll know already because of the experience of falling back off on track and then getting back on, you'll know what to do. So if you're in this stage, celebrate. Um, it's a hard thing to achieve, so celebrate. Good job. Um, and check in with your support network, your friends, your family, so they can just kind of keep an eye on you, but you pretty much got this. All right, let's go to relapse. This is one of the most important things, in my opinion, as a health coach. This stage is the most important for achieving any change of behavior. And it sounds counterintuitive, but for you to be able to establish a habit, you have to go through relapse. You have to have a setback because we are human, we're not robots. We have to have that human experience of falling off of track. Life is always going to throw us something. It's every 3 weeks, I think, in my experience with health coaching, it's about every 3 weeks that something goes funny in our lives. And the better you get at picking yourself back up and putting yourself back on track, and the quicker you get at that, the better and stronger you get at achieving that maintenance level of a healthy lifestyle or whatever habit you're trying to change. Um, so your first setback, your first relapse is the hardest. And some people are way too hard on themselves. They feel really guilty and really ashamed, and we can't have that. You have to move forward. We can't have you feeling that way. It's normal to have a setback. So I think from the gist of the webinar today, if you don't remember anything except for one thing, remember this. It is normal and necessary to have a setback to be able to achieve a goal, a behavior change. Embrace it. Know that it's normal. Don't beat yourself over it. Don't feel guilty. Just keep on swimming, swimming, swimming. Keep on moving forward. Sorry, I've got 2 kids, so Nemo. Um, so tips for the stage. Remind yourself that setbacks are normal. Seek support. Health coach. I'll talk more about our free health coaching services towards the end of this webinar, but keep that in mind. It is so much easier when you're doing this with a friend and somebody who can keep you accountable and somebody who's going to remind you, like, that was just a bad day. Let's keep on going. Um, and and yeah, I think that is it for this stage. Next slide. Okay, so where do you think you are in these stages of change? I don't think, well, pre-contemplation, that might be a hard one to think, but in this poll, just think of one health goal or something that you're trying to achieve for your own wellness. What stage of change are you in? Oh, I love seeing all of these come in. Oh, it looks like preparation is pretty high. Let's see if we get any more. Oh, they're still coming in. Stage of change preparation is still winning. That's exciting. Oh, we've got still 40% more. Okay, they're coming in. Come on, people. A little bit more. Let's bump that participation a little bit more. There we go. Okay. So we're at 70%.
We have a few people that answered in the chat
Oh, nice. Let's see what the
taking
chat says.
taking action, so that's good.
Stage 4. Okay. Taking action. All right. We've got 3 people. Okay. Well, taking into consideration the people that are in the chat plus what we have on our poll, preparation is slightly higher than action, but that's encouraging to see. A lot of people are already taking action. So many people are taking action. There's even some people that are on maintenance. Whoever said relapse, I got you. No worries. You give me a call at the end of this presentation. We'll talk about it. Thinking about change, contemplation, that is interesting. Okay, when you feel ready, call us. And there's somebody that's not ready yet. Oh, I'm so curious. Anyways, thank you so much for participating in this poll. Um, I'm sharing it now. I just realized I wasn't sharing it. Okay, sorry, y'all. That is the result there. Okay, now we can go to our next slide. All right, so staying on track. Like I mentioned a little bit ago, relapse is a normal part of the journey. Um, there's always going to be bumps in the road. Life is always going to throw us an oddball. Um, this is a good time, though, when you go through relapse to get to know yourself. What triggers you? What feelings do you have? What do you say to yourself? Are you bullying yourself? Are you being like unkind to yourself about it? Or are you okay and confident and know that it's going to be all right? Take that time to reflect and learn and come up with some strategies. Every time that you have a setback, you'll have more to learn about yourself and you'll be able to get a little bit better, hone in better on that strategy to get out of that relapse. Um, Always be kind to yourself, be compassionate to yourself. Again, we're humans, we're not robots. We need lots of love, lots of compassion, and we mess up all the time, but we still move forward because that's what we got to do. Um, so yes, self-compassion, key. Next slide. One last reminder, setback does not mean that you're a failure. Celebrate your progress, even if it's little teeny weeny steps. Those do count. And if you forget that, I will remind you that those do count. That's how we get the ball rolling again. So celebrate those teeny weeny wins and just keep on going. Next slide. All right, I'll hand it back to you, Liliana.
Thank you so much, Natalie. So we're going to talk a little bit more about steps for success. Excuse me. So setting realistic goals and tracking progress is essential to any wellness journey. Celebrating wins along the way helps us stay encouraged. And like Natalie mentioned, having a support network can provide accountability and make reaching our goals more enjoyable. So remember to celebrate each step of the way, no matter how big or how small the success is. It can motivate us to keep going and achieving plenty of more goals. Next slide, please. Thank you. Now let's talk about common barriers and some practical solutions. So we have time. So fitting small actions into our day can make a big difference. Trying micro activities like a 5-minute stretch or adding an extra veggie to a meal is important. Next, we have motivation. So celebrating small wins. Drinking an extra glass of water or taking a short walk can boost morale and keep us going. Next, we have overwhelm. Focusing on just one habit at a time is extremely important to help prevent burnout. And finally, knowing where to start. We can try breaking down big goals into smaller, more manageable steps to make progress more approachable. Next slide. Thank you. Small changes really do add up over time. Here are some practical examples. Simple actions like taking a 5-minute walk or swapping one sugary drink for water or herbal tea can really bring noticeable benefits to our energy and wellness. Setting a timer to take short breaks to stretch or breathe deeply can reduce stress and improve focus. As you make these small adjustments, you'll start to notice meaningful improvements in how we feel each day and can be a great motivator to keep going. Now let's celebrate some meaningful milestones and wins we might notice along our wellness journey. So things like craving healthier snacks like fruits or nuts instead of processed options like chips or bread. feeling more energized during the day and less dependent on that second or third cup of coffee, keeping up with your kids at the park, or even experiencing less soreness and having more flexibility. Each of these wins, no matter how small, is an important step forward in our journey. Next slide. Staying motivated is easier with strategies like rewards, treating ourselves to non-food rewards like a workout item, because who doesn't like some retail therapy every once in a while? Tracking progress by using a journal or an app to help us keep track of our wins, or community support. Engaging in support networks like the Community Challenge can really help us stay on track and accountable. So these strategies help us build momentum and reinforce our long-term commitment to wellness. Next slide. All right, do we have any questions?
If you have any questions, oh, we see one. Let's see. Are you going to provide any certificate of attendance or participation? No, I'm sorry. This is not an accredited CEU, so I think it'll just be the email of attendance. Any questions? Any other questions? All right, I see some in the chat. Let's see. Can the slides be shared? Sam Silva. I think we'll have to ask Amelia about if it's Healthier Texas property or not. Sam, we can get back to you on that though. Sam Silva, I'll remember that. Okay, has this been recorded? Yes, it's been recorded and we will share it via email. We'll email the link to everybody who's registered. Renee says, I appreciate your focus on keep trying. Get back up after falling is always difficult. It is. I feel it. Yes. Oh my gosh, Amelia. What are some tips to keep in mind with the holidays coming? Okay, I'm going to do a deep dive on this one because this is a pivotal time for all of my clients when the holidays come. We usually have a special session just about the holidays coming. So, some of my clients have come up with a strategy for Thanksgiving specifically to get themselves a small plate this size. I guess it's like the almost like tea size, but a little bit larger than tea size, and serve a little bit of everything, anything that they want to eat, just a little bit of everyone. And if something looks okay, but not that good in the dessert table, because there's like 5 or 6, 7 desserts there, just choose the yummiest looking ones. Don't waste your calories and portions on something that looks so. So go ahead, fill your plate with your Thanksgiving stuff, and then you have a smaller one for the dessert one. And enjoy. Enjoy your family, enjoy your friends. If it's a Friendsgiving, Thanksgiving, if it's a small, relaxed, little teeny Thanksgiving to yourself, enjoy it. And then have a beautiful walk in nature afterwards. It always helps burn those calories. Another tip from some of my clients is if they're going to a potluck Friendsgiving and they are not sure what to expect food-wise, to bring a vegetable option, you know, because you don't know what's going to be out there, and you want to make sure that there's something healthy. You be the person with that salad, the boring old salad or the healthy coleslaw, and serve yourself a ton of that, half of your plate of that, and then the other half, whatever you want. But that is one way to make sure that you're getting your vegetables in for Thanksgivings. Make them yourself. Let me think of a third one that we come up with. Um, Making sure that you're drinking lots of water. Um, it will be, some people kind of skip a meal so that they have enough room in their bellies for the meal, the big meal. Um, just make sure that you're hydrated so that you're not going in there thirsty and hungry because thirst can feel like hunger too, and it's like a confusing signal in our brains. So it might make you overeat if you're actually thirsty. So yeah, drink your water going into Thanksgiving. And most of all, though, enjoy. And if none of these tips work and you overeat, don't worry about it. We'll just work out afterwards. Just it's only a day. Don't let your Thanksgiving trigger for you to eat Thanksgiving every single day for the rest of the week because you feel bad about it. That's one thing. Like if you don't make your goal, don't worry about it. It was just a day. It's fine. You can portion control the rest of the days. It's fine. But yeah, especially do not guilt yourself and beat yourself up to where you are eating emotionally over it. It's not worth it. It's fine. Okay, let me go back to questions here. Um, oh my goodness, there's so much in here. Let me scroll up a little
Melissa,
bit. Yeah,
Melissa
go
asked
ahead.
a really good question.
Where is it?
Um,
Mhm.
Melissa asked, I have a really hard time being moderate with exercise and food tracking. It seems everything with me is all or nothing. Any tips to help me find a better, healthier middle ground?
Oh, this is something, believe it or not, a lot of us encounter. And I have a lot of clients, and I don't know if it's like a personality thing. We're kind of like a black or white kind of person. And self-compassion is really hard. It's hard to be kind of in the middle. Um, in my experience, working with this kind of scenario, it comes with practice. So, Melissa, if you want, we can set up some coaching after this. But what I would recommend is keep on trying. The feeling of getting into the habit, into the practice of one, not achieving your goals, but two, practicing self-compassion. If you put it into practice, it will slowly go in and you will eventually be able to settle for a middle ground. And then from there, build up one habit at a time. Um, I don't know what it is about us that we do that. Like we push and push and push, and if we fail, then oh, we're on the other spectrum, on the other side. It might be something with our childhood, who knows? But it's hard, but with some practice and like going through it, you will get there. I've had tons of success with a lot of clients who have that kind of personality and they are able and they're magnificent at it. You just have to keep on doing it, keep on feeling it out. You'll feel that compassion coming from yourself. All right, let me find another question here. Renee sympathizes with Melissa. Yeah, there's a lot of us are on that. Like, it's all or nothing. And we're failures if we're in between. Um, oh, yay, Melissa. I would love that too. Atomic Habits by James Clear is an amazing book on habit formation. Beautiful. Um,
And Renee shared she shared that there's a lot of recipes for stuffing made with cauliflower rice.
ooh,
That sounds delicious.
smart. Yes,
Yeah.
that does sound delicious. Um, my partner calls the moments of relapse as being off season. I like that, Jackie. It helps me mentally to remember that everything has a season when we thrive the most and another season when will be just around the corner. I love that. I love that. There used to be a health coach, Debbie, who worked on our team, and she would say, to just remind people, you're on this train and it makes many, many stops. And you'll make a stop. You might decide that you want to get off for a little bit, but then the next train is going to come and you'll just get back on the train and you'll just keep on going. And so there'll be many stops and you'll be able to decide just how many stops you want to get off on, but at some point you just get back on whenever you're ready to keep on going forward. And I love that. It's just, it shows the journey of it. We're not going backwards. We're always moving forwards. Um, let's see. Nutrition and exercise overlap with things like PCOS, yes, and other health conditions that affect us. Yes, that is true. Nutrition and exercise are so important for so many things, for everything in our body, even mentally, emotionally, so much. I hope that in the future, like public health in our Western society starts kind of moving more and more towards a more holistic understanding, like the mind is so connected to how we're treating our bodies and our emotional well-being is very connected to. Like I just get angsty. I feel angsty if I don't drink enough water. I'll get grumpy. And I know that this is not for everybody, but for me, I'll get grumpy if I eat too much white bread for some reason. Yeah, it'll make me not a good person to hang out around with. And it's not because I'm feeling guilty. It's there's like this discomfort and I feel groggy and impatient because I'm trying to digest all those carbs and my body just can't handle it. So it affects me emotionally. Um, ooh, Renee has a great presentation on food addiction. Nice, but likes to hear other presentations. Awesome. Well, we'd love to hear yours. Um, Other topics to hear is nutrition. More importantly, knowing sugar type charts in the food and liquids more as a quick reference. Yep. Yeah. Oh gosh, sugars can be, that's a whole can of worms there to talk about sugars. Absolutely, Larry. Um, there was one question about if the stages of change are linear. And I did want to point out that no, we can sometimes we might be like in full action and then we have a really bad relapse and then we're going all the way back down to like contemplation. That especially happens with smoking cessation. And it's really hard because there's also a chemical reaction that's happening. And you might feel in your heart and soul that you are ready to change and you are doing it. And then you let yourself off or you have a setback. And in your head, you're like, oh, I let myself down again. I'm a failure. This is the fifth, seventh time that I'm doing this. And it could really push that back for a whole year or so. It's really hard with smoking cessation. So with stages of change, if it's linear, it's not. When you are relapse, you can go back all the way to any of the stages. Depends on how hard you're hit with that. All right. Perfect segue into the health coaching slide. Thanks, Ricardo. All right. So I've been plugging in health coaching all this time. I I just really love health coaching. I love what I do. Elena, Isabel, love what they do. It really works to have a support buddy, an accountability buddy. What I tell people who've never had a health coach is you know how, say that you want to go to the gym, it's so much easier when you have a workout buddy to go with because, you're keeping accountable to that person and that person's cheering you on. And even if it's raining and storming outside, that person's waiting for you at the gym. So you go. It's so much easier. Same with a coach. That person is keeping you accountable to your own goals. and checking in with you once a week or once every 2 weeks and having that sacred time to just talk and prioritize these things that you are trying to do for your own health and your own well-being. Um, so take advantage of this. We are free. It's for anybody in the state of Texas. If you have a kiddo that wants to participate, you can join as a family account. So I'm coaching mom, but mom is making the change for the whole family and what they are eating or taking them to the park, exercise, whatever it needs to be. Um, the best way to reach us is via text at this moment. You can call and leave a message, but text messaging, we can set up an appointment via text. So we can schedule a registration date for you to start going or to start uh, the coaching. We do it via phone or Zoom right now. In the future, 2025, we are looking at some pilot programs and having group coaching in person, likely in the Bexar County area. So we're going to start small, but hopefully eventually we can offer that statewide. Um, we are bilingual, hablamos español. So yeah, join us if you are needing that extra accountability, um, somebody to remind you that it's okay. It was a bad day. Let's keep on going. Um, and you set the pace of how fast or how slow you want to make that change. And we're just there to keep you company and keep you going. All right, next slide. Oh, community challenge. Liliana, you're going to talk about this, but I'm going to plug in a little bit for community challenges for a
Yes.
second. Um, One of the cool things about community challenge, and it works for a lot of my clients, is we're humans and we love competition, or most of us do love competition. So if you are driven by competition and you want to get the ball rolling, this is an excellent way to do it, to just get started on any habit that you're trying to achieve. There's going to be so many people logged into the community challenge, and you'll be able to see how different groups of people are doing and different individuals are doing as well. And you'll be able to compete with them with your points and their points. So, yeah, remember if you're trying to start a healthy habit and you're struggling just to get started, just to get the ball rolling, but you know that you are a competitive person, take advantage of this. It starts January 13th. So get those New Year resolutions written out and then get ready for January 13th to get started. Okay, Liliana, you go for it.
Thank you, Natalie. So, as we wrap up, again, remember the community challenge. Community challenge is a free, exciting program for anyone aiming to improve their well-being. So, participation is simple. Just download the community challenge app and sign up. Track your healthy actions, like if you drink some water, if you're taking a walk during lunch, if you or even if you incorporate an extra vegetable or an extra fruit, all of those give you points. And most importantly, you join a supportive community that encourages you along the way. You'll receive guidance and resources to help you keep motivated throughout your wellness journey, all in the convenience of the Community Challenge app. We truly hope to see all of you in the leaderboard in 2025. Next slide, please. And we are getting close to wrapping up this webinar. Thank you all so much for attending. There is a link to our feedback survey. There should be a link to a feedback survey in the app in a couple of seconds, but it's the same QR code that you see on your screen. So if you take your phone and you point your camera to that QR code, you should be able to, it should be able to take you to our survey link. And we would truly appreciate if you can take a few minutes to take this survey. It's going to help us improve future programming.
Yeah, no, we would really appreciate if y'all can take that survey. it's linked to our funding too. So we really always really appreciate when people take our surveys. It helps keep the funding coming too. So don't log off yet. Oh, two people already logged off. Don't log off yet. Please take our survey. Let us
It's
know
a
how we're doing, how we can improve, and let our
yes.
funders know how we're doing too. Thank you.
For sure. And also, make sure you follow Healthier Texas on all our social media platforms to stay in the loop, to learn more about Community Challenge, telehealth coaching, our exercise and nutrition program. And we do have a couple of more webinars coming up. The next one we have is on December 11th. We're going to be talking about using Community Challenge as a starting point to turn motivation into ongoing health improvements that inspire others. And our final pre-community challenge webinar is going to be on January 7th. We're going to be talking about SMART goals a couple of days before the official start date to the community challenge. If you have any questions specifically about community challenge, feel free to connect with me or Ricardo directly to learn more, or what your thoughts are about community challenge and your role specifically in your organization. So yeah, thank you so much everybody for joining us. Is there anything that you want to say, Natalie, at the end of this?
Yeah, I'll be doing the January 7th webinar on SMART goals, so I'll see you all there if you can make it to that one. And then we're going to have weekly webinars with all the other health coaches. Elena, Isabel are going to be there for the next 6 weeks, every Wednesday at 12, I believe. So that's going to be during the community challenge. So yeah, take advantage of the momentum. We always try our New Year's resolution. It's a great time to start fresh and start new. Keep in mind that usually by the third month, it gets hard. It gets hard to sustain a habit. Um, and that might be a good time to call a health coach to keep you going until there's another community challenge somewhere else. I know that San Antonio sometimes has some in the summer. I'd say if you can jump from challenge to challenge to challenge, you'll have a very productive year. But we always love to start in January. So start with us and then keep on going. We'll talk to you all soon.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.